Hi everyone. October the 17th today. I know it's been a while, I'm on the road, but here I am. So we're approaching a pivotal turning point. As I predicted already, probably 2-3 months ago, I said the Saturn station by October 23rd, in that time there would be a radical shift, and I'm feeling it, and the charts I'm looking at are totally all falling in place. The main theme is here. This is the most kind of important chart in the next short while, aside from the eclipse naturally on the 25th, and there's a couple occultations, Venus occultation on the 25th and Mercury occultation on the 24th. So this is all around the same time. Saturn is turning stationary direct, reaching the bottom of the valley on the 23rd. In that last activation of the Uranus square, as I showed in an earlier recording, this Saturn-Uranus square really gets harnessed now. Yes, it didn't get exact by a simultaneous motion, but where Uranus turned retrograde at 1858, that is pretty exactly matching the 1835 Saturn is going back to in Aquarius. Here you see it, 1835, and Uranus turned at 1858. So anyway, the long story short, sorry I got sidetracked. Venus is our neighbor planet. Venus and Mars are super important. Whenever there's an alignment of Venus, you have to really pay attention. That affects us on an emotional and even physiological level. Venus is very sensual too, very physical in that sense, and also can be the Amazon. That's another aspect of Venus. Venus, according to the Mayan astrology, Venus is a warrior goddess, or can be at least. Yes, excellence and perfection and beauty, all these things go with it too. So when Venus is conjunct the Sun, Venus is slowly approaching the Sun, and Venus actually is behind the Sun as seen from Earth right now. This is Earth, we're looking towards the Sun, and Venus is here at the far side, slowly getting past the Sun. So this is the culmination of the Sun-Venus-Earth cycle, which is something like a 400-day cycle or so. So this is a super important high point in the last degree of Libra in itself, a sign this is very special. What is initiated here, what is shown, and really it is a moment of expansion when the Sun and Venus have their superior conjunction. It is really the brilliance of the show is now fully visible. That's kind of what it says. So the long story short, yes, the 23rd, 25th is the culmination in, not really the culmination, sorry, it is the turning point, the pivotal turning point, I call it. And then about 10 days later, November the 2nd looks like a real big initiation, and it is well possible that what I heard, seemingly some people have claimed that the elections November 8th won't happen, something else will come first which will prevent them pretty much from happening. I think that is a very probable scenario, and the big shift when things really change is November the 2nd, and I will show you why. So yeah, there's so much I would like to share with you. That conjunction of the black moon with Pallas is super indicative. The black moon naturally is that emotional energy we are becoming aware in this present 7 or 9 month period, that deep emotional shock and pain and rage and upset, what not, it's really touching us. In the moon's sign is the moon's shadow, so to say. So this is really coming home. This is now Pallas is an asteroid and is moving faster than the black moon. The black moon takes 9 years to circle once around the full zodiac. Pallas is about double that speed and will be overtaking, exactly conjuncting the dark moon, the black moon, on November the 2nd at the entrance of the Aries dwad of Cancer. This is very meaningful. Between 20 degrees and 22:30, this is the Pisces dwad. It's 8 times the 8th sign from, if you start with Cancer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, the 9th, 2.5. Am I right? Not the 10th. It must be anyway. Sorry, the 9th it is, or the 8th. Okay, now I got lost. Sorry. Anyway, it is the resonance with that Aries energy, and both simultaneously. Look, you can see it. I have the chart here open too. Here it is November the 2nd, when the black moon and Pallas simultaneously enter that Aries energy. On this day also we will have a lunar return for the American people, and everything points that this is really where things are breaking open first, as we long expected. I mean, this is long overdue. This has been really held back almost artificially to create the necessary momentum, because there's only one chance. And well, I will get deeper into this one in probably my next recording, when I focus on the American chart and what's happening down there. Let's look at the energetic picture for the globe, for the whole of humanity. This really shows dark energy is being digested and analyzed and understood, and the necessary measures are taken to deal with it, because Pallas is a female energy of intelligence, of understanding what justice and truth and liberty, freedom, all those. Pallas rules the arts and science, so it is really also a scientific analysis of dark moon emotional charge which humanity is presently bringing to the surface, and not just in one way with all the jabs and what the after effects are of that, but this is just, maybe you could say, the activator which brings all the other dark truth even more to the light, which many of us already are aware of, but many people naturally are not yet. So this is all coming together, and there's this pivotal turning point which opens the gates for probably the big disclosure, or that long expected event of action, of real action. November the 8th is a supercharged day. If the elections should be happening, we might expect a very different result from what we expected. Just leave you with that thought. It looks like a dramatic energy on that day, and we will look at this in the next broadcast. So this is a culmination. Let's just read the Sabian symbol for a moment. I always I have really rediscovered those. It's unbelievable how these images give you it's an oracle, how that oracle reveals itself. So with Sun and Venus in this last degree of Libra, which naturally is the culmination of Libra energy, which is all about that Venusian harmony and balance and truth and honesty and all these really high values of human behavior. 3 mounts of knowledge on a philosopher's head. The keynote: the fulfillment of man's power of understanding at whatever level of existence the person operates. So it means that everybody gets something out of it from where they are relatively. A true philosopher is a man who is able to understand, not merely know, the process of life as he comes to experience them directly. And the kind of the, to put it in one word or as little as possible, Rudyard here suggests a holistic approach to knowledge, which is very important. It is seeing all the facets and understanding. There's not just black and white. There's thousands of different hues of those two colors mixed, which really give the richness, give the detail of the picture, if you want. I mean, just think of a black and white photograph. Even if you just really push it to the extreme, and so it's really a black and white, you still need the two colors to first of all bring forward the picture, the image. It is that interplay of the dark and the white which really allows for the imaging, allows for the recognition. So, and then if we add all the many nuances, then the picture becomes really fully real. I guess that's what it really means. We have to get a direct experience of reality. It just cannot just stay in our mental realm, even though that is super important too. So anyway, I mean, so many things come together, and I know I'm sometimes probably overwhelming you with all the many different planets I'm talking about, so I try to limit myself a little more, speaking of the real key points, and maybe as time comes make more special videos on one particular important aspect which adds quality, a special quality to our present experience. So what really stands out in this Venus activation chart is also that Jupiter is now in that 0 degree Aries, the first degree of Aries. Jupiter the activator. This is, and I mean, Jupiter still goes backward. That is the funny thing. So it's kind of still a moment or a time of start fully pulling the string of the bow back to get the arrow even more charged up in a way. So this leads us really into the end of November, when Jupiter is starting to move forward, and naturally then when Jupiter is forward motion back into Aries, which will likely happen close to the end of the year. I would have to look it up. We will see as we go, or you can look it up in an ephemeris, which is pretty much everywhere now on the internet. Just put in ephemeris and Jupiter and you might find a place where it gives you those degrees. I mean, if you're not an astrologer, just saying. So with Jupiter in the first degree, and then we have Mercury here in square to Pallas, and yeah, there's a whole lot more going on here. There's Arrochot and Hilonome. Arrochot is the one which really brings in consciousness clarity. It's the understanding of everything at once. Hilonome is the one which is ready to take on something in order to serve the greater good. Hilonome is a female centaur. She sacrificed herself in battle. She killed herself following her beloved husband Celeres, who was killed in the battlefield. So it is really translated, it's deep deep commitment. Yes, I guess that's the way one could say. So the commitment to direct insight and also to healing of all kinds of wounds and difficult emotions. And then naturally the black moon here, which just crossed these points in the last few weeks. Actually, am I right? Let's just go back to the present chart here for a moment. I'm not telling you anything wrong. Yeah, it's just in the middle of it. Yes, it is past. That is today. So the moon was farthest away from Earth today. And this shows you also that as these are really critical moments when the orbit of the moon is redesigned, you could say, when the moon is physically at that place where it is farthest from Earth. So this is a reset point too. And with Jupiter down here and Hygeia, the bottom line, the theme, I should say, is health and wellness and expansion, bringing light into dark, very much so the Sag rising here too, in that sense. So anyway, the black moon, you see, is just about moving 1 degree in 9 days, so it is all here at once. Pallas is still coming closer. And we have that very similar geometry with the Sag rising here today when the moon was closest to this chart here. No, it's not true. Which one was it? Okay, right, I know which one it is. It's the November 2nd chart, which I showed you before. This one here. The lunar return of the American people. So there is something there which, whenever we have those degrees rising, it kind of resonance. There's resonance. It resonates. It brings. It's kind of like a direct energetic connection it makes with that beings or nations chart in this sense here. So okay, let's go back to this one. It's really, I want to say a few more things about this chart. The moon here opposing Jupiter and Neptune both, pretty much at the half point between the two. If we calculate it, 2336 is 1148, 2648, so 1 degree past the midpoint, moving towards Jupiter opposition, coming out of the Neptune opposition. So it is a at their best, Jupiter and Neptune are visions for the future, but it is also the enlarging of the Neptunian frequency, which is super overblown anyway in our present times, so it makes everything more grotesque. That is definitely one of the ways this opposition expresses, with Mars stationing here very, very soon at 25, I guess, 29 or something, or 35, somewhere in that area. So in that 26th degree, and this is another one I really wanted to read you, because this is a long-term effect too. Mars turns retrograde on the 30th of October. Let me see if I say that right. Yes, on the 30th. And then go backwards for something like 8 weeks. So this is only happening once every 2.5 years. So this is, I mean, you can see Mars now in the night sky. It is that bright red dot. Jupiter is very prominent. Naturally, the moon is somewhere in between the two right now. And then there is Mars. Yes, you see that if we look at this quickly here, that is again today's chart. So if you look at the night sky, actually, yeah, the moon is already beyond Mars. So the moon rises very late right now. So Mars red and Jupiter very bright. When Jupiter is close to set in the western horizon from wherever you are, then Mars is pretty much overhead. And will be for the next 2-3 months. As the retrogradation really means that Earth is overtaking Mars, and for that reason Mars appears to be moving backwards for a while. It's the same thing you do if you take another car over, the other car seems to move backwards. It's all a matter of perception, and that really brings that over and again to the forefront. Perception is truth. Truth is perception. That's our experience. That is how we see it. And however twisted it is this person's truth at this moment. So, okay, let's go back to this one. Naturally, with the black moon rising here, this is the theme now. It's bubbling up. Square Mercury, yes, challenges us to redefine our thoughts, beliefs, ideas. Everything is tested and challenged in that sense. If we look at this same chart heliocentrically, that moment when Venus and the Sun and Earth were in a perfect line, here the Sun would be in the middle, Venus here at the far end, and Jupiter on this side of the Sun. So in this moment, you see Mercury here heliocentrically had a powerful position, which means by essence we do understand. It is just by manifestation we still have to we are one step behind, you could say. So you see there is this big square, this grand square heliocentrically. Mercury, naturally our perception in that sense. Mercury is very much the main character. It's the eyes, the ears, and then naturally the thought process, which is following of what we see, how we interpret it. This is challenged by 3 asteroids. There's this high ideal of truth and worshipping a higher frequency. That is the main challenger here. And then we have Hygeia, health, well-being. She is definitely a recurring theme over and again. And there's Pallas again. You see heliocentric Pallas. So this is the activation of the higher mind, you could say. We start really seeing things in way more complete manner. And then, yeah, it is tied into this axis 19 Pisces, 20th degree of Pisces, which again resonates with other charts. I mean, there's so many interconnections. I know it can get too exhausting to look at all of them. So anyway, I have a series of charts I want to quickly go through. I will really keep it short. That is now 4 days ago only. Aspolus returned back into Gemini. Here it is. 0 degree Cancer, in other words, but going backwards. 30 degrees Gemini really would be the right way to say. So Aspolus is the character I like to compare to Sherlock Holmes. Interested in dark stuff and mystery and drama, and also experiencing it and going through all these dark experiences at times. It is a real initiation in itself to have a strong Aspolus. So Aspolus going back into Gemini is helping Mars. They team up. They now become, it's a wide conjunction, but it is starting to resonate that way. And then the moon naturally in Gemini too, this helps. It is it's almost like there's new tools available to analyze and to investigate, and it moves away from the emotional field it was in for a while, which definitely was important, and goes back in the more rational, explanatory, because in the end this is important. We have to see both sides of everything. Interesting, the Aries here, culmination over the Earth's 0 meridian. Aries, who's so dedicated to truth, taking on the fight, taking on even going through a war, just in service of truth, of bringing the right energy forward. So anyway, there's lots and lots of powerful energies in this chart alone, which is covering those few next months with Aspolus here in its final loop. And Aspolus takes probably, I'm guessing here, I guess about 10 years in each sign, maybe a little less. It's the culmination of quite a period, maybe 5 years, but still. It's the final dot on its experience, and it is okay, let me see what else. So let's move on to the next chart. I again just want to pick raisins here. Third quarter moon today. Interesting, in this Greenwich collective chart for the Earth, the fourth quarter of the moon actually is this next week, covering the exact square point between moon and sun. And in itself, this is linked into Eris again, which we just talked about, and Venus and the Sun. and Pluto. And that Pluto Aries square comes back to life, which was exact between 2020 and 2022, which was really the war phase of, I mean, Pluto kind of was triggered to expose its power in a very crude way, and Aries happened to square that energy at the time and poke holes into the story. I guess that's as best I can say. That process we are still in the middle of, and this gets enlarged again with this present day constellation of Sun and Moon. The next 7 days, yes, are a lot about that. So it's really that build up to the eclipse of the 25th, as I said. So let's look at the next chart here. This one we already covered. That was today when the moon was closest to farthest from Earth. The apogee is the farthest point. The moon here, yes, together with the black moon, which was just hours prior to the waning half moon. Again, Jupiter here, just showing you again this powerful force of Jupiter in the moment, of expansion, of not stopping, of taking all the necessary precautions too, as it's in retrograde, and being extremely innovative. There's an innocence too which comes with this first degree of Aries, and very warrior-like too. That adventurer, warrior, yes. Aries. Also, Aries is the energy of the small child. First 7 years are governed by Aries. Then, well, I guess I'm stopping here. I want to keep them shorter, and then continue with this one in my next one. Okay. Thanks for watching again. Okay. Take care.